Hello, everybody, and welcome to DraftKings. My name is Tyrone Atkins, and joining me, as ever, we've got, that's right, Jamie Hinks to my left, and just over the way there, we've got European football correspondent Edo Delamonte. Right, guys, the Champions League has kicked off. It's in full effect. Every team has played 2 matches. It's starting to form now, pretty much who's going to go through, or maybe not. It's been the odd surprise, not too many, and some of the big guns have impressed, some haven't. So what I'm going to do is ask you guys a question. If you were going to craft a DraftKings team right now out of the teams that have played so far in the group stages, who would they be in the position? So we're going to start with goalkeepers, but one. Just pick one goalkeeper for us, gentlemen. I'm going to start with you, Jamie. Who would be your choice goalkeeper from the UEFA Champions League so far?
It's got to be Jan Oblak of Atletico Madrid. He's, for me, the best goalkeeper in Europe over the last sort of 2 seasons. Yeah, he's 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, 8 saves. Saved a penalty against PSV, which got them over the line for the win, which it was a cagey game. People forget that game now because they were so dominant against Bayern and they won so easily. 39 fantasy points after 2 games is a huge return for a goalkeeper. And yeah, I can't see past him. There's no one else up there with him.
All right, well, let's see if Edo differs. Edo, who's your choice goalkeeper from the
Nope, I agree. Jan Oblak, Swisher, he's also got 7 clean sheets out of 8 games in total this season. He had a dry September, only 1 goal. Don't stop drinking, it's a terrible idea. No, stop sober, all of that. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're punishing yourself for nothing. So my guy is going to be Daniel Subasic. He has conceded 2 goals, but his average price is in the 3,800s. 3 saves per game. Had bad Euros, so people weren't expecting him to bounce back. Started the season badly against Fenerbahce in the prelims.
Yes.
But no, he's actually been pretty good so far. So I'm proud of you, Daniel. And he's got 5 clean sheets in total from between League, Cup, and Championship. So he's the kind of goalkeeper I see people going forward with as well, except for the Leverkusen game. I'd be more optimistic about Monaco keeping a clean sheet against Tottenham than one against Leverkusen for some reason. Leverkusen are loco. They'll score against you, but they'll probably concede too. But yeah.
I think they probably will. But yeah, interesting choice. Now, straight into defenders. Jamie, who are your 2 defenders from the Champions League so far?
Miguel Layún, who is a lover of crossing more than anyone else in the whole of the world, I think.
Crossophile.
He is a crossophile. He's not played every minute so far for Porto, but he has over 45 points. He's an annoying one because their manager doesn't seem to want to start him every single game. But the bonus you get with Layún is he's listed as a defender, but he's also played on the wing sometimes as well. So it's something to consider when you're picking Champions League lineups, and also if Mexico are on a slate anywhere on DraftKings, he usually starts at right wing for them. So something to consider just as an end game. But yeah, 25 crosses and 1 goal in the Champions League. My value guy is Ludvig Augustinsson of Copenhagen, who is an absolute beast. Like, he's still not being picked by that many people, but 57 points so far.
Wow.
He's my favourite Champions League fullback.
How much is he roughly? What's his
He's
average?
usually around 4,600. I think the average price 4,770. 2 clean sheets so far, including the qualifiers. And I think every time Copenhagen are playing at home, he's a great pick because he takes corners. And he's my favourite fullback I've ever picked on DraftKings, like by miles.
More than Robbie Brady.
Yeah, this guy. Honestly, I can't even say any more about him.
His stats blew me out.
I could go for like 10 minutes on him.
It's almost like you'd be crazy not to pick him with those kind of stats from defence. Right, your defenders, Edo. Who?
He came close to signing with Man United this summer, and you get the feeling that after that sort of fell through, he's basically been rewriting his highlights reel. It's Fabinho of Monaco. So he's just been incredible. So in the actual sort of group stage, only 1 assist, but he was playing really well in the prelims, did really well against Fenerbahce. Also, mysteriously has 5 long balls per game. It's a stat that shows that he can contribute in attack as well. More importantly, between the league and everything else, he had 4 straight games of goals. So he scored against Villarreal twice in the prelims, the Champions League. Then he scored against PSG and Lille. Then came up with an assist against Tottenham. Then had a game off and then scored last week again. So he's having a really good season overall. And in the Champions League, he was one of the only good guys against Leverkusen in a game which Leverkusen dominated and really should have won. Fabinho was still rating really well. So he's there. And my value guy is Miguel Layún's colleague, but on the other wing, Alex Telles, formerly of Inter, now at Porto, has 30 crosses so far. What I think he's got defensive issues. So he's a little bit of good on DraftKings, maybe not so good yet in real life. But I think he's a promising player, but he's got work to do, and that's why he probably didn't make it at Inter. He's got injury issues as well, but promising player.
Incredible. Really, really, really interesting defensive picks here because they're massive point scorers and crossers and the like. But it has only been 2 games thus far.
Yeah.
We will see. But interesting. Now, I've noticed so far You've picked 3 players each. There's been no Premier League.
No, yeah.
I wonder, don't spoil it, I wonder if any will come in at any point. Let's go with you, Jamie, your midfielders, 2 of them. Why?
The fairy tale from last season carries on. It's Riyad Mahrez
Yeah.
of Leicester. Yeah, you have to. He's been so good in the Champions League so far. I know they've got a favourable draw, but I mean, you can only beat the teams that are put in front of you, and it's their first
And
ever.
he easily could have choked.
Yeah, of course he could have done. And yeah, he's another player who's over 40 points already. His average salary's high, it's 8,900, but I think there's plenty of other players that are more expensive than him that are proving to be really not good value. Like you look at even Vardy is nowhere near as good value as Mahrez. Takes all the corners, takes all the free kicks. 2 goals, 1 assist so far. I think you keep picking him purely because their fixtures are going to be so favourable. I think it's Copenhagen up next twice. I mean, apart from my guy Augustinson.
He's not the only one. There's another guy.
Yeah, Ankerson.
Yes, Ankerson.
They're on opposite sides. But anyway,
You guys, honestly.
value Joshua Kimmich. I think that's how you say it. I don't want
Who's
to
he played
mispronounce his name. Bayern Munich. 2 goals already. Kimmich.
Oh, Kimmich,
Yeah.
sorry, yes.
I think I got every time I hear it, it's pronounced differently. So I've had my own.
Let's go with Kimmich. Hit the
Yeah, I've
hard.
had my own.
hard
Kimmich. 2 goals already for in the Champions League, and yeah, I think he's going to improve. It's a tough group, but could be the making of him.
Absolutely, and they need him right now because, like you said earlier, Bale and Ronaldo aren't exactly setting the world on fire, but who knows? They might still come up in one of your teams. Your midfield, Edo, please.
Dries Mertens of Napoli. He scored a brace against Monaco. He's looked really good this season. He's in basically what is a timeshare with Lorenzo Insigne at Napoli. But Mertens has arguably outplayed his Italian colleague. He's looked really, really good in that Monaco game. He basically just dismantled. Yeah, it was no, it wasn't Monaco. Sorry, what am I talking about? They were playing Benfica and beat them 4-2. And what was really funny was that all the Benfica defenders were considered hot property. And then along came Mertens, and it was just like, yeah, game over for you boys. And he works really well with Fauzi Goulam, who's another really good scorer, but he's a defender. But these are the guys on the left for Napoli, and they're to be considered throughout the group stages. Davy Klaassen is our other guy. This is for an Ajax team that is already knocked out of the Champions League. They didn't make it to the group stages, but he gets credit here and gets a lot of love because he would cost you an average of 4,500 and got you 53 points in the qualifying rounds, including 4 goals in 3 games. He's doing really well in the league, 5 goals in 8. And what was quite interesting was that a lot of teams wanted him in the summer. He wasn't going to cost more than maybe 15, 20 million euros. People went, oh, but is he ready? Does he play? Ajax, they're not good in Europe. He's just another one of these kids. But actually, it turns out people should have brought him in because he's just looked really good. So
Klaassen. Well, that's an interesting pick because you've picked a man who has no further stakes
involvement.
In
No, he's just getting prelim love because we've had more qualifiers than we had.
They're in the Europa League, so
In the Europa
They
League.
are in the Europa League, which we do have. So, Klaassen, interesting pick. He does qualify. Well done. Keep your eye on him. Strikers. Jamie, who's your strikers?
Neymar, Barcelona.
That guy.
Yeah, he's lucky that they played Celtic in the first couple of games because he's already got 5 assists in the Champions League, and I think a lot of players will be happy with that for the whole season.
Sure.
54.75 points. He's the highest scoring player who wasn't in the qualifiers. He's got a lot more than most of those players that even played in the qualifiers. There's a lot of like Rostov players at the top who I was a bit wary of picking because I'm like, they just got absolutely thumped by Bayern the other week. I like them still. And I think, in Barca, also they have the top 2 with Neymar and Messi in terms of points, and I think he has a goal to go along with his assists as well. Messi's been injured, so I mean that does embellish it slightly, but he takes corners for Barca, and he's always a threat. My value guy is Maxwell Cornet of Lyon, who is benefiting from Lacazette's absence, I think, here.
Yep.
1 goal, 1 assist, 8 shots. Tough group, but they should get 3rd. They might pip Seville to that 2nd place because Seville don't really like the Champions League. They kind of like the
They're Europa League legends.
They love the Europa League. So, I mean, if there was a group they wanted to be in where they could come 2nd ahead of Seville, this is it.
Okay. Interesting selection. You've gone for a massive superstar, and you've gone for someone who perhaps isn't on too many people's radar yet, but always good reasons for your picks. Edo, your strikers impressed me.
Sergio Aguero, another massive superstar, but the idea is that I've never really liked spending too much on strikers in DraftKings, but there's a reason why sometimes you pay these kind of big bucks, and it's because he will score a hat-trick against Mönchengladbach, get you 42 points, and it's game over. You are definitely one of the top guys, or at least you're as good as everyone else who's picked Sergio Aguero. But yeah, if you consider it last season as well, he kind of underperformed in the Champions League, I'd have said. He's still got 5 goals, so the sky's the limit this year. And he's averaging 4.5 shots per game. That was more in the Champions League last year.
I say you're right. If he stays injury-free, we can overlook the Celtic debacle. Sergio Aguero will score plenty of goals. He's always going to make my team.
Yeah, and so he's an automatic pick. Another guy who really is rising up the ranks very fast, Arkadiusz Milik of Napoli. So we knew him as the Ajax striker who plays for Poland, and who was a little bit wasteful at Euro 2016. Generally speaking, so far, he has not been wasteful. He's been really, really good in the Serie A. He's got 3 goals in the Champions League. You know, people aren't really debating whether Napoli missed Gonzalo Higuain because he's just been scoring those goals as well. One maybe sort of downside was against Benfica. Napoli were 4-0 up. Milik missed a couple of chances, and you're wondering, were they just sort of sparing them their blushes? You know, Benfica did score 2 back, but it wasn't really getting back into it. It really was summer-friendly mode. And he has got really good support around him. Napoli have got a really deep team this year. They may not be able to win the league because of, I don't know, balancing issues, but in the Champions League, they could really pull off something here. Maybe even be a quarter-finalist.
And he's good value, right?
He's really good value.
The reason why he's made your team. Now, everybody, you've listened to these 2 guys. They've been some superstars in their lineups and some surprising non-household names. The reason they picked them is because they know their stuff. So I would listen certainly to some of these defenders you pick, because the scoring with some of the defenders in the Champions League has been freakish.
Yeah.
So pay heed, everybody. Take a good look. The Champions League kicks off again in approximately a week's time, just over a week's time. Get involved. Get the app if you haven't already. Do a little bit of homework. Listen to these guys. You don't have to listen to these guys. You can do what you like. But what I do know is that you can win big. And welcome to the big time.